From a starving child abandoned in the freezing Mongolian steppes to the most feared conqueror in history, his rise wasn't just about war, it was about rewriting the rules of civilization itself. Genghis Khan didn't just defeat kings, he made their thrones irrelevant. His enemies called him a monster, yet the world he shaped still exists today. But what made him truly unstoppable? And why does his legend still haunt us? The boy who became a stone. He was born as Temujin, not as a Khan. His father was poisoned and his family was cast out to die. He was enslaved, beaten, and left to starve. But suffering didn't break him, it forged him. Instead of seeking revenge like any other warlord, he did something different. He united the very tribes that had once haunted him. He took a land divided by centuries of blood feuds and turned it into a war machine that would shake the world. But brute force wasn't enough. To reshape the world, he needed something more. Genghis Khan understood something no king or emperor did. Fear is the most efficient weapon. He didn't just defeat enemies, he made surrender the only rational choice. Cities crumbled before a single arrow was fired. His reputation spread faster than his armies, and with it, the terror as well. And what if a city resisted? Well, it ceased to exist. The Persian Empire learned this the hard way. When the Khwarizmian Shah betrayed him, Genghis didn't just invade, he erased the empire from history. He didn't conquer, he annihilated. But fear alone wasn't enough. There was another reason no one could stop him, and that was how he controlled everything. Most empires relied on brute force. Genghis relied on intelligence. His greatest weapon wasn't his cavalry, it was his information network. Merchants, spies, defectors, even prisoners of war all became part of his vast web of intelligence. He didn't just attack, he already knew his enemy's weakness before the first battle began. Trade routes weren't just for goods, they were arteries of data. He turned commerce into surveillance, diplomacy into deception, and with this knowledge, he conquered not just land, but minds. But his brilliance extended beyond strategy. His empire functioned unlike any before. To Genghis Khan, bloodline means nothing. Strength, skill, and loyalty meant everything. A shepherd could become a general, a noble could be executed for incompetence. Unlike Europe, where the king inherited power regardless of the ability, Genghis rewarded those who proved themselves. His empire was built on ruthless meritocracy. Everyone had a chance, but only the strongest survived. And yet, for all his brutality, he did something no one expected. He created order. For all the destruction he caused, Genghis was also a builder. He enforced religious tolerance, standardized law, and created one of the safest trade networks in the history. The Mongol Empire connected the East and the West, allowing ideas, technology, and culture to flow like never before. The Silk Road flourished. The Renaissance might not have happened without his influence. He was not just a destroyer, but he was also an architect of the modern world. But despite all of this, there was one land he refuses to invade: India. Now, why he never conquered India is a big question. Genghis Khan empire stretched from China to Europe, yet India remained untouched. Why? Was it the mountains, the jungles, or was it the resistance? Some historians argue it was pure strategy. India was rich, but controlling it would have been costly. Other claims that he saw it as a land of disease and chaos, not worth the effort. Whatever the reason, he walked away, a rare decision for a man who took everything. But even the unstoppable must face the inevitable: the death of Genghis Khan. In 1227, Genghis Khan died. But how? Some say he fell off a horse, other whispers of an assassination, and then there's the legend of a single arrow that struck him down. His burial remains one of the greatest mysteries of history. His body was hidden in an unknown location. His funeral procession killed everyone who saw it. Rivers were diverted over his grave to erase all the traces. His treasures lost to time, his empire divided among his sons. But his story was far from over. The legacy. What if Genghis Khan had never existed? The modern world might not look like it does today. What if he had never died? Would Europe have fallen? Would he have reached Africa? Or would his empire have collapsed under its own weight? One thing is certain, his presence never truly disappeared. Borders we recognize today were shaped by his conquest. The global trade network he established still influences commerce. His tactics are still studied in military academies, and his DNA. Scientists estimate that millions of people alive today are direct descendants of the Khan. His empire fell, his tomb was hidden, but his legend, it remains eternal. We tell ourselves that civilizations mean walls, laws, kings. When Genghis Khan exposed this illusion, he didn't conquer just cities, he revealed their fragility. He didn't claim divine right, he took power. He wasn't bound by borders, bloodline, or rules, because in his world the only law was strength. That's why his name still lingers in whispers, why history books still try to define him, and why centuries later the world still fears the shadow he cast. Genghis Khan didn't just conquer land, he conquered time. Now, along with Genghis Khan, there were also many great leaders and kings like Marcus Aurelius, and he was quite known for his stoic approach to things. And if you want to learn about him, you can watch this video.